Okay, we're recording. All right, well, we'll make a start. We've only got Mike with us at the moment, but he must be the most important guy, so we'll start off anyway.
We also have one more person who's just joined us.
Excellent.
Lander. Okay, cool.
All right, well, we'll have intros in a sec. But first of all, welcome to the capstone for the Internet of Everything, our IoT course. My name's Ian Murray. You've probably seen pictures of me floating around on the course. With me, I've got Dr. Savash Kaksar, which reminds me, Savash, did you update your stuff on this course?
Yes.
You did?
Yes,
Okay.
just last week.
Dr. Kaksar is a very recent doctor. He only graduated, when was it, 2 months ago?
Yeah, March.
March.
Yeah,
Okay, so
yeah.
very recent. Anyway, we have Dr. Kaksar with us. He'll give a bit of an intro on himself. We also have Dr. Yiffy Ren, who's hiding there in the background somewhere, who will also give a bit of an intro on himself. But as you probably know, I'm an IoT guy. I've been working in embedded systems and Internet of Things long before it actually existed, and we called it sensor networks. Been a curtain for 20 plus years, came from industry, ex-defense background, and very much into the connectivity of data sources and actuators, which is what the IoT is. So I'll hand over now to Savash, who will introduce himself and what he does.
Sure. Hi, everyone. My name is Siavash. I'm a lecturer at Curtin. I'm part of the School of Electrical Engineering, Computing, and Mathematical Sciences. My background is very similar to Ian. So in embedded systems and sensors, IoT, industrial IoT side of things. My personal research is in digital healthcare, more specifically in using sensors to capture human movement in rehabilitation, gamification of rehabilitation, which we will discuss a bit further as part of these nightly seminars, and looking forward to spend these capstone project discussions with you.
Dr. Ren.
Hi, my name is Yifei. I'm also a lecturer at the ECMS, and my background is about wireless communication, IoT embedded system, software-defined network, applied machine learning, and at the moment, my research interest is about how do we redesign the industrial control system along with their SCADA system and the communication protocols.
Which is basically the industrial IoT. Yeah, would
Yes.
you agree?
Yes.
Yeah. So there are some differences between our standard IoT and the industrial IoT, which we might cover. Actually, might be a good little talk we have later on. Anyway, so let's make a start. Yes, we should have mentioned this to begin with. These meetings will be recorded and posted to YouTube so people can review it if they missed it. Just be aware of that. So whatever you say or do will be there forever. Like all social media, it never goes away. But hang on, if he's down there. This first one is really just to meet us and for us to meet you. Mostly it will be myself, Savash, and Yiffy on these meetings, but we will bring in some of the others you've seen in the courses as and when needed. Best way to communicate with us, email. Use the IoT capstone email. It's in the coursework there somewhere. And if you don't hear from us within a day or two, send again. We get lots of emails, we get trapped with our normal teaching and research duties and can actually miss things quite easily. So don't be shy about coming forward and re-emailing. So some ground rules, pretty standard stuff. Please be polite and respectful of others. Normally we would say if you wish to speak, raise your hand. There's a little hand raising icon on the WebEx, but we don't necessarily have to do that with a fairly small number of people. You can just jump in and say, oi, to quote the Australian style. Please do mute your microphone when you're not speaking because background noise can get a little bit off-putting. And video is optional, but it'd be nice if we could actually see who we're talking to. So what we like to do now is have those who are online at the moment introduce yourself, tell us who you are, where you are, and what your idea for the capstone is if you have one. If you're unsure, this is a time we can talk about what your interests are, what possible developments you could work on, what's suitable for the length of this course, what we think is achievable, and all the other details on making some real progress towards implementing your prototype. And we'll talk a lot more about the prototypes. As we learn more about you and what your background is, we can decide what sort of prototype is most suitable for your skill set. For people who are techies, engineers, electronics people, it might be that a physical hardware type prototype is suitable. If you're more of a business background and you don't really have the expertise or inclination to build the prototype, we can work on business cases and marketing as the prototype for this course. So you can see who's there, Savash. Could you ask people to introduce themselves, share as much or as little as you like? You don't have to say where you are if you don't want to. But yeah, please introduce yourself and let us know why you're here and what you'd like to build.
Sure. So Mike, if you don't mind, we'll start with you.
Yep. So Mike Day, I'm I suppose, controls engineer going back long enough, but more now working in the renewables and electrical side of things. I suppose my driver in this space is we're doing more and more work on distributed control, particularly on renewables and some of the, I don't know if you're aware of CCIP Oz and some of the dynamic operating envelopes that are floating around with the various network operators. So as we're rolling out hundreds of devices rather than the traditional 10 or 12 that we'd have on a mineral process plant, I suppose grappling with the challenges that are associated with that and rolling out smaller devices and getting my hands dirty in actual real code instead of ladder logic and function block again.
Oh, good. Yeah, it's interesting stuff. So you're working with the microgrid type installations, or is it
the network operators at the moment, utilities. So
right?
as they need greater control on the distributed resources, solar, EV chargers, residential batteries, commercial batteries, they are going from managing dozens of assets to tens of thousands of assets.
Yeah.
And the appropriate mechanisms to try and do that. Modbus doesn't cut it at that point.
No, it doesn't. Do you have an idea for your project in this?
I've got a few ideas, I suppose, that are smaller, more around the, I suppose, my side hobbies. Potentially looking at some sort of image recognition and messaging over very low bandwidth comms. So either Cat-M1 or LoRaWAN or something similar. I've been messing around with a Raspberry Pi doing image recognition on OpenCV and then trying to push that through a very low bandwidth connection.
Right. Interesting. Yeah. Well, Yuffie will be able to help you a lot with that. He's a guru with the embedded edge type AI. If you want to head down that path and reduce what you're transmitting down to messages rather than trying to do any cloud recognition.
Exactly. Trying to offload it to the device rather than up in the cloud, because just don't have the bandwidth out bush for
right.
images or video streams.
What are you trying to recognize, if you don't mind me asking?
Somewhat selfishly, things to shoot.
Ah, okay.
Pigs, goats,
right.
Foxes.
Yeah, no, that's good. That's good. I can identify with that. I've got a nice little collection of firearms too, including an 1853 Enfield. So, yeah. So actually looking at the feral animals and identifying them is a really worthwhile thing. I think lots of people are interested in doing that. And I think, Sebastian, didn't we have a project where we were looking at that?
Yes. Yes. I was gonna.
Feral cats,
Yeah.
wasn't it? And shoot
Yeah.
them at the same time.
Yes, and it's an interesting one because the idea is we're working with an environmentalist that's looking at the effects of feral cats on the environment, and basically the idea is detecting and making sure it's a cat, and the way they're approaching it, there's this kind of poisonous dart that will be kind of shot at them. And of course, the challenge is going to be making sure it's definitely a cat that you're trying to control, and it's not other animals. And they're at the moment working on the algorithms of detecting the cat. And the challenge in this particular scenario is they want to look at remote areas, so they wouldn't have access to too much cloud-based processing for the machine learning side and detection side of it. So that's an interesting one.
Certainly a autonomous weapons system
Hmm.
is probably something I'll steer clear from this stage. But
Yeah.
certainly doing the image recognition on the edge, and then just transmitting doing the classification there, and just pinging up there is a pig, there is a cat message.
Sounds good.
Yeah, very interesting. Have you got any footage, or can you collect any footage?
I have some footage. I've been using cloud, publicly YouTube videos of animals and some of the OpenCV libraries at the moment. But pending time constraints and ability to get out west, looking to gather some actual imagery. I also have a dozen goats that I've been using as stunt animals.
Right. Okay.
That's cool. All right, so we'll go next to Hernan. If you don't mind, please introduce yourself and tell us if you have an idea for your capstone project.
Hello, everyone. Do you hear me well?
Yep, we can hear you
Yes,
fine.
yes.
Hi, everyone, professors. I think you can remind me from last year we met there at uni. Well, my name is Hernan. I'm a electronics engineer and a master's student also. Currently, I'm in Colombia. So here it's 7 a.m. in the
Gotcha.
morning.
Yep.
The other side of the world. Just waking up here. Sorry. Yeah, it's better now. So the ideas, and I have a couple of ideas for the capstone project. Maybe the most solid one is that I want to build like a system, like a data tracking system for football players, maybe with some commercial IMUs and maybe a web app where teams and coaches can look at the data of the players, typical data like distance covered, some basics of the data like the age of the player, the weight, like the progress, like track the progress of the players of the team. Because well, my family and I we have some football clubs here in our area, and we would like to have a proper control of all the clubs, where we can see like in a system, okay, we have these players in these clubs, we have this progress of these players, maybe this player can be a potential player to sell, for example, to a top pro club, something like that. So that's an idea that we've been like thinking about all this time, and maybe in the capstone project I can make it happen.
Yeah, it's probably a good idea. But I think in the scope that we have in this project, you're going to have to narrow it down to a particular attribute of the player. So looking at fitness level, for example, you could add in multiple sensors for the heart rate, compare that to movement, and do some analysis and send that out to a dashboard to look at say general fitness. It's just one thing, but yeah, I think you'll need to focus on a particular area because we don't have that much time.
Okay, got it.
Sebastian, got a comment on that, because the human movement health stuff's more.
Yeah, first of all, I was just trying to see when you just remember your name. It sounds familiar now. I fully remember when we had a chat last year. So I'm glad you made it back
to
your family. Cool. So yeah, I think the human movement one would be I would suggest kind of two pathways. Either have human movement as what you're capturing, because as you mentioned, with an IMU, there's different aspects of the human movement. There's different aspects of, as say, the football players are going through the exercises or different types of exercises, and capturing different attributes associated with them. And you see, Evie's mom
Yeah.
saying hi. And then there is if you want to focus on another attribute, look at human health monitoring. So things like hydration, potentially respiratory rate, blood pressure, and because we are limited in the amount of time that we have, the system that you can design, it can be a system level design where you talk about, well, here are the sensor attributes, here's how we are capturing them, here's how the overall IoT system would work. And then are you still a student at Curtin doing your master's as well? Are you moving back to your,
Yes.
okay, so,
Yes.
because
The-
yeah, so have you started your thesis unit yet? The MPE project one?
The next semester is going to be project one.
Project one, because one of the things you could do, if you wanted, you can then expand this out to your thesis for next semester, and do the initial design phase of it here, and then as
That's
part
my
of your
goal.
thesis. Yeah.
Exactly.
And you'd still be doing that from Columbia, wouldn't you? The project.
Yes, exactly, Professor.
Okay.
Yeah, so that'd work really well. If you get the groundwork done, the literature review, the market analysis, and those sort of things done, scope out the project for your 1 year master's thesis. That'd be ideal.
Yes.
It'll get you a really good head start into that those units.
Yeah. Okay. Thank you, Professor. Yes. Yes, I will.
Cool.
Okay. So we only have the
We have one more person who just joined us, Badri. So Badri, in this session, we're just doing quick introductions from everyone, and if you have decided on your capstone project and what you're planning to do, that's what we're doing right now. So if you're ready, we would like you to introduce yourself and tell us about your project idea.
might have a connection issue.
Yeah, you're on mute, Badri, if you're speaking right now, but okay, we'll give them a couple of minutes. Well, while you're waiting, just for the recording, one of the things that would help you if you haven't decided on a project idea, you could start off by thinking what is an application area that interests you. So for me personally, I like digital healthcare a lot because that allows for a lot of different interesting ideas, and especially it will allow you to look at different aspects like the cybersecurity aspect, because there's the privacy of the patients involved. There's the industrial side of things, industrial IoT, as we briefly mentioned. There are different, there are very interesting things that when you take a project and make it industrial, and you're looking at that from that side of things, the different types of communication protocols you're dealing with, different constraints that are there because it's an industrial setting, or potentially a critical infrastructure that you're looking at, that could give some interesting challenges for a project that you can help design around. But yeah, I don't think we're gonna hear from Badri, so yeah,
All
if
right.
you wanted to move on.
Yeah, okay. There's a few other things we should mention. This capstone project is very, very different to other MOOCs. There's not a huge amount of material on the MOOC site. There's lots of things to help you and sort of resources more than anything. The interaction with your fellow students and with us as the advisors is the key part to this MOOC. It's not static delivery. It's really trying to make the most of these sessions we have together and keeping in contact with us when you need any assistance so that we can lead you to hopefully a successful project at the outcome. So really, this is a very much an in-person course. It's very much an interactive course, not the standard type MOOC. So we'll be having these meetings every fortnight, and the purpose is for you to ask questions, to meet other people who are on the course, and hopefully next time we'll get everyone along, hopefully. Propose your idea, and when you're proposing your idea, be ambitious, be creative. We can always scale things back, and you don't have to have a successful completed prototype to pass the course. It's your process that you go through to develop the plans, develop the building, develop the strategy for getting your prototype up and running, and hopefully getting some form of prototype as well. So be ambitious with it. Don't worry if you're not going to get there in the end, as long as we can see that you've approached the problem correctly, you've got an engineering approach to solving it, even if it's a business solution, and that will be sufficient for the course. Think very carefully about what requirements you have, because if you have hardware requirements, this stuff can take a bit of time to get in, and we don't have huge amounts of time. Think about the requirements from the user's perspective. Who are your users? What are they going to do with it? Why would they choose your solution? And a lot of these things we talk about in a great deal more depth later on. Before each meeting, it'd be great if you could make a list of questions up, because we don't want to just sit here and talk at you. We very much want it the other way around, you to be talking and us just answering questions or pointing you in a specific direction. Remembering we don't have the answers to everything, of course, but quite often we can point you to the right place to find the answers. And each fortnight we will start off with a bit of a chat on a topic of interest. So we've got some on commercialization, prototyping for production. What else have we got that we normally do? I think we might do an industrial IoT one. Do one up specially for that, maybe showcasing our open platform, which is something that's quite interesting. So yes, that's what we want to achieve in these meetings. It's been fairly quick because there's only a few of you in here, but we're happy now just to chat if you like. If you've got any questions, I'll stop sharing my screen. No, and we lost the other one. So you guys got any questions? Want to say anything? Ask about the previous bits of the course? Tell us we did a
For
horrible job.
me, all good at the moment. Just going to start all the design process and start working.
Good. What have we got coming up next week, next fortnight? We've got the verifications done. Is there anything we need to do in the housekeeping side, Savash?
Yeah, we've got the Canvanizer assignment due. I'll just as we're catching up, I'll look up the exact due date for that one. But it should be on
I have a question.
28th of July is the due date for that one. Yes, go ahead, Haran.
The assignment or the part of joining a team in the discussion board in the IoT6, it doesn't allow me to
I wouldn't worry
join
too
a
much
team.
about joining a team. If
Yeah.
you use the discussion board, wouldn't worry about a team, because that was really there when we had several hundred students doing the capstone. Now that it's been running for quite a few years, we're not getting huge numbers. So consider the team, everyone else in the course.
Okay, got it. Perfect.
It is good to make contact with other people, because having views from people with very different backgrounds is quite beneficial. So if you find that somebody in the course is a entrepreneur, business person, that can be very, very useful when you're doing your costing and your market research, and you can help them out with the technical side. So it's a bit of give and take.
Yeah, sure. Got it.
What's our talk on next week, Savash? Can you remember?
So I believe it would be the Canvanizer,
Yeah.
but and leading into the other assessment, the market research, I believe.
Yep. Okay, Mike, you got anything you'd like to ask, or
Look, I'd certainly be keen if you've got any information on that monitoring program on the cats. It'd be interesting to see what's happening in that space as well. No, look, otherwise I think all good at this point.
Okay, we'll see what we can dig up for you. I don't think anything's confidential or
No, so basically for their algorithms, they're just using off-the-shelf algorithms. They haven't, the actual implementation side of it is not publicly available, but the detection side that will be relevant to you, I would suggest starting with something simple. If you usually suggest YOLO V8, it's a you only look once. It's an off-the-shelf algorithm where you can train it on different models. If you think for this one,
Yes,
yeah.
just a couple points when you're using YOLO model is since you're already using OpenCV, YOLO model like the picture to have a squared respect ratio. So you're 640 by 640. So you have to do a lighter box like reshaping for the original footage because your original footage is 16 by 9. And also YOLO V8 has the capability to export the model as the NCNN format, which runs faster on Raspberry Pi if you're using any ARM-based system. But it has some compatibility issue with the new NCNN library. So it can't actually be successfully exported or loaded back in. So you have to figure around to find out which is the older version that compatible installing that one that should be working, which is quite frustrating. Yeah, hopefully they can update that soon.
Yeah, look, certainly digging down lower into the programming side of things and what I'm used to, it's fun and playing in this space again. Yeah, I have been using OpenCV, but I've been having to break the image up into multiple sections because I found the standard OpenCV libraries are looking at a much they prefer a much smaller window, but yeah, something I'll keep looking at. But I'll have a look at that YOLO as well.
There's also a website called RobotFlow, which you could train YOLO model directly there, and they have the labeling to everything and automatically give you a model for you once you label the data, and you can just load it in and use it. Sometimes it's more convenient, but it's not quite optimized for like Raspberry Pi or some small devices. Usually for design, you're running with a full-scale computer.
Yeah, okay. All right, no worries. No, look, certainly no other questions, and yeah, we'll roll with the course for now.
okay.
It's good.
Well, in that case, we'll sign off and see you in the next couple of weeks. If you do have any questions, please don't hesitate to shoot us an email. And as I said, if we don't answer it within a day or two, shoot the email again so it pops back up to the top of our list.
Yeah. I've also shared our staff profiles on Keratin's website. If you want to have a look around, find our direct contacts, as well as some of the, some of the research we're doing. If you see anything there that interests you, let us know. And the IoT Capstone email as well.
Okay.
Okay.
Thank you, professors.
Thanks for coming along.
Yes.
We'll catch up with you soon. And don't be strangers, as I said, shoot us an email for anything that you need, and we'll get back to you as soon as we can.
Cool.
Got it. Thank you.
So now
Thanks,
stop the recording. Thank you.
Yes. Now, trying to stop it.
I think it's okay.
Doesn't want to let me stop.
Oh, maybe I can.